Now, his name is Hoblos. His name is Oblos. I think he's from Greece, yeah? For people who know me. I'm going to play a video to show you how the Hadith garbages have dominated their brains. So now, proper reasoning, they don't have it. The scholars of the Hadith. I'm serious. I'm not... Look, don't think I'd sit up here and put my videos insulting scholars. No. If you deserve to be whipped, I will do it to you. And no matter who you are, whether you can be Mufti Meng Zakir, if you deserve to be whipped, I'll whip you. Wallahi, I will not leave you. I'll whip you because it is the deen of God, because you are insulting God and the Prophet. Yeah. But you don't see it. So I have to help you to see it. If you are a fool, then the world has to see that you are a fool. Seriously. Now, Hoblos. His name sounds like a villain. Right? Let's go and see Hoblos. Hoblos. So I put a video of Hoblos and we see what Hoblos have to say.
Let me clarify something, because we have been polluted. Let me tell you something just for the sake of understanding, because there's many people who tell me, look, you know, maybe I don't pray, akhi, but you don't know what I do in secret. Yeah, you know, maybe I don't pray, but wallahi, I got a big heart. You know, wallahi, you know, I give a lot of money in charity. My brothers and sisters, let me tell you something and understand this as fact. As far as sin is concerned, and please understand this message very, very clearly. Of course, it's all sin, it's all haram, none of it is good and accepted. But for the sake of understanding, Habibi, let me tell you something in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As far as sin is concerned, yeah? The one that sells drug, good or bad? Bad. How about the murderer? How about the one who commits adultery, zina? What about the one who drinks alcohol? What about the one who does the biggest of the kabair, good or bad? This person, one person that commits all of these sins, he commits all of these sins on a daily basis, but he prays, is better in the eyes of Allah than the one that doesn't commit any of these sins but doesn't pray. So you and your brother, yeah, I'm a good guy. Habibi, God, pack that up, because it's not going to work on the day of judgment. Any person that misses one salah, one, not two, one salah, you miss one salah for no reason, you're worse than a murderer, you're worse than a rapist, you're worse than a terrorist, you're worse than a pedophile in the eyes of Allah. Oh my God!
Hoblos. His name is like a movie character, like in the Lord of the Rings. I don't know, it sounds like a Lord of the Rings, but his name sounds like a villain, right? But he talks like a villain, by the way. But now let's put him to the check. Let's analyze what he's saying, right?
My brothers and sisters, let me clarify something, because we have been polluted.
Yeah, I agree with him. We have been polluted. So he says, my brothers and sisters, let me clarify something, because we have been polluted. But actually, the pollution doesn't come from any other place but the scholars, like him. I'm serious. So I'm going to show you how they pollute you. Hey, pollution. Hey. You see how he's shouting like a donkey? God says we shouldn't raise up our voices. This guy is the definition of the donkey. Okay.
Let me tell you something just for the sake of understanding.
Let me tell you something just for the sake of understanding. So please open your ears, open your brains, and open your hearts to understand what this bozo is going to say.
Because there's many people who tell me, look, you know, maybe I don't pray, akhi, but you know.
He says that because there's many people who will tell me, maybe I don't pray, ya akhi. Huh?
I don't know what I do in secret. Yeah, you know, maybe I don't pray, but wallahi, I got a big heart. You know?
He says, maybe I don't pray, but wallahi, I have a big heart.
No, wallahi, you know, I give a lot of money in charity. My brother,
I give a lot of money in charity.
Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something and understand this as fact.
He says, my ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something so that you understand this as a fact.
As far as sin is concerned, and please understand.
He says, as far as sin is concerned, now listen.
This message very, very clearly.
Then he says, listen to this message very, very clearly. We are going to listen.
Of course, it's all sin, it's all haram, none of it is good and accepted.
A sin is a sin. All of them is haram, and none of it is accepted, right? Okay.
But for the sake of understanding,
But for the sake of understanding,
Habibi, let me tell you something in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
he says, Habibi, let me tell you something in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, whenever a scholar calls you Habibi, you know that there's Tuli coming. I'm serious. Whenever you see any person who is a sectarian, calling himself a scholar or anything, who says Habibi, that he's going to follow up with Tuli.
As far as sin is concerned, yeah, the one that sells drug, good or bad.
As far as sin is concerned, now he's going to make a comparison. Listen, he says the one that sells drugs, is it good or bad?
Bad.
Bad. So that is number one. As far as sin is concerned, he said the one that sells drugs, is it good or bad? So when he said drugs, I have no idea. If you're a pharmacist, which drugs is he talking about? If I'm selling burana, painkiller, which drugs? Okay, so let's assume we understand what he meant. He's trying to say narcotics and so on, right? Okay, so he says selling drugs is a bad sin. Yeah, okay, let's go.
About the murderer.
Now he says, what about the murderer? It's also bad, right? Okay.
How about the one who commits adultery, zina?
How about the one who commits adultery or fornication? That's also bad, right?
What about the one who drinks alcohol?
What about the one who drinks alcohol? That's also bad, right? Right? Okay.
What about the one who does the biggest of the kabair, good or bad?
What about the one who does the biggest of the sins? The khaba'ith, the thing that God has forbidden, the biggest of the sins, good or bad, is bad, right? So he made about 4 or 5 comparisons, right? So now listen to what he's going to say.
This person, one person that commits all of these sins, he commits all of these sins.
So he's going to make the biggest blunder ever. He says, now somebody who commits all these things, who commits all these sins, listen, he's going to make a comparison. Somebody who commits all these sins, now listen,
on a daily basis,
who murders people daily basis, who sells drugs daily basis, who drinks alcohol daily basis, who does fornication daily basis. Listen to Hoblos carefully.
But he prays is
this person who does all these sins he just mentioned, the biggest of sins, but he prays. You see how they are going to limit Islam to only prayer. He's going to limit Islam to only prayer. So the one who does all these biggest sins he just mentioned, so far as he prays, listen, he prays. Now listen.
Better in the eyes of Allah than the one that doesn't commit any of these sins but doesn't pray. Oh my God!
This person is better in the eyes of God than the one who does not pray but never commits any of these sins.
Oh my God!
In the eyes of God. Is that what God said in the Quran? Did God actually say this garbage? This guy is talking as if he is the secretary of God. Yet you ask him, open the Quran and show me. Whoop, why dodge? Toli, so, Toli, pa. That's it. His name is Oblos. He sounds like a villain, like a donkey shouting. You are saying somebody who commits murder, somebody who drinks alcohol, somebody who commits fornication, somebody who does the worst of sins and sells drugs, just because he prays, prayer. You said he's better than somebody who doesn't pray, but who doesn't commit all these things, but doesn't pray.
Oh my God!
What are you trying to propagate? What are you trying to tell the audience? What are you trying to tell the stupid people listening to you? They should go on and kill. They should go on and commit murder. and sell drugs and drink alcohol and fornicate. So far as when I do my five days salat, God is a merciful God. He forgive me so that I go to Jannah. You understand? So let me sell the drugs. Let me commit fornication. Let me kill people and do all the according to Hoblos. If I do all these things, I can just pray and God will forgive me. You understand? It's so simple. Now these are the people you call scholars. You understand? So Hoblos, all this shouting you did, Hoblos. I love your name. Your name is Hoblos. Hoblos. Anybody who speaks Greek language, please help me with the meaning of Hoblos. I love the name, Hoblos. But he's shouting like a donkey. I don't understand. Anybody who sells drugs, who kills people, who commits adultery, who does the worst of sins, wait, so far as he prays, he's better in the eyes of God than somebody who doesn't and doesn't pray.
Oh my God!
Because of his shouting, you might give him charity. You might think he's doing well because he's shouting. These comedians, these scholars, wallahi, they are comedians. They are clowns. You don't get it, right? Go to my YouTube channel. Go to my playlist. It's called Versus Scholars. babashuaib versus Scholars. You watch. You see Zakir Naik. You see Mufti Menk. You see Numan Ali. You see Yasir Kadi. You see all of them. They are in the playlist. I'm going to join this one also very soon inside that playlist. Go and watch it. And then you see the mess up of these scholars. I'm serious. Very messed up. Okay, let's listen to Hoblos.
Say, you and your brother here, I'm a good guy. Habibi, God packed that up because it's not going to work on the day of judgment. Any person that misses one salah, one, not two, one salah, you miss one salah for no reason, you're worse than a murderer.
So anybody who meets just one salah, he keeps saying one salah. I don't know if this guy is a secretary of God. I think he's the one keeping the records, right? I think he's not even... His rank is higher than all the angels of God. He keeps the record. If you miss one salah, according to him, you are worse than a murderer. You are worse than any... I'm serious, this guy is a donkey. I don't care who he is. He can be the president of Greece. I don't care. He's a donkey. I'm serious. It's based on this video I'm judging him. He's a donkey. Hey, Hoblos.
Say, you and your brother here, I'm a good guy. Habibi, God packed that up because it's not going to work on the day of judgment.
Hey, with this guy, who is he fighting with? Seriously. In this video, it looks like he was fighting with the audience. Telling the audience, go and pack that up. It's not going to work in the day of judgment. Seriously, is this guy the secretary of God? Hey, Hoblos, why?
Any person that misses one salah, one, not two, one salah, you miss one salah for no reason, you're worse than a murderer.
Anybody who misses one salah, just one, and you keep emphasizing one, just one, you are worse than a murderer. Was this guy aware that in Quran chapter 18, verse 9 to 21, the youth, the guys who slept in the cave, they slept for 309 years, right? Because according to God, when we sleep, it takes our soul away. It's like a death at the same time. So they slept for 309 years. I want to ask Hoblos. He says, anybody who missed a salah, because in their time, they had a masjid. Go to Quran chapter 18, read from verse 9 to verse 21. A masjid, a place of, calling God was actually set up in the time of the youth. So this youth, they slept for 309 years. So let's ask Hoblos. according to Hoblos, if you miss one salah for no reason, because what is the reason? They were sleeping. So if you miss one salah, you are worse than a murderer. So this youth, they miss 309 years salah. So if according to the mushriks, each day you have 5 salah, how many salat? This youth in the cave who slept for 309 years, how many murderers are they worse than? Hey! These people, do they reason at all? I can't think far. Hey! If you are worse than a murderer for missing salah, that means a lot of people, a lot of you guys watch. Be careful. According to Hoblos, you are worse than people who have been arrested in Guantanamo and wherever. Or the suicide bombers you are seeing, you are worse than them, according to Hoblos. You limit Islam to prayer. Are you a fool? Are you dumb? What kind of foolishness is this? And you guys are scholars? No, they are not scholars. They actually got famous by mistake. Imagine missing about 547,500 missed salats. That is the equivalence of how much you are worse than a murderer. Let's listen to Hoblos.
You're worse than a rapist. You're worse than a terrorist. You're worse than a...
Oh, I thought he is going to limit it to a murderer. He says you are worse than a rapist. You are worse than a terrorist. You are worse than a pedophile. Just for salah, one salah. Hey! Hoblos, why? Hey! Hoblos, I don't know. I think that day he was fighting with somebody. Seriously, I don't know if somebody did him something bad, but he seriously had a grudge with somebody because I think he hit somebody in the audience. You just look at his face. Because of one salah, you are worse than a murderer. You are worse than a rapist. You are worse than a terrorist. You are worse than a pedophile. For one salah. Okay.
pedophile in the eyes of Allah.
They lie to the people and they swear. Yes. Quran chapter 3 verse 78. وَإِنَّ مِنْهُمْ لَفَرِيقًا يَلُؤُونَ أَلْسِنَتَهُمْ بِالْكِتَابِ لِتَحْسَبُوهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَمَا هُوَ من الكتاب ويقولون هو من عند الله وما هو من عند الله ويقولون على الله الكذب وهم يعلمون. And indeed among them are those who twist their tongues with the book to make you consider it is from the book while it is not from the book, and they will say it is from Allah while it is not from Allah, and they lie about God, Allah, while they know. Somebody like Hoblos, he knows he's lying, but he will keep lying. May the curse of God be on such people, wallahi, if they don't repent. I'm serious. You don't see the magnitude of this stupidity these people are preaching, right? So don't be surprised when you see so-called people calling themselves Muslims in your countries in Europe, raping your girls, killing people, committing all these atrocities, because he thinks when he goes to the masjid Friday prayer or whatever, he's been forgiven. Because of these foolish scholars like this, preaching this arrant nonsense. If I'm part of the police force, I will have arrested this bozo long time ago. Jackass. So this is some of the madness of the mainstream scholars, right? And these are some of the garbage things they get from hadith books. So don't be surprised when you see them acting like this. If you want to know the dark side of hadith books, hadith use, go to my YouTube channel. I have a video I did concerning the dark side of hadith followers. They have the darkest side when it comes to Islam. I'm serious. Hadith followers are dangerous.